People who have taken an ancestry DNA test and accidentally uncovered a family secret. What was it? My bio dad left his family and 2 daughters in Washington and married my mom in Los Angeles 5 weeks later. I found his first marriage certificate but nothing about a divorce. I'm pretty sure he was a bigamist. My Phil was married to at least 2 women at a time. Nice guy but a man whore, and I think he just didn't want to let each woman down when she got pregnant and or started bringing up marriage. My Mill says that he was already married when they got married, but we also know that he has a child 3 months younger than my husband, and the woman and child both go by Phil's last name, and that's not the woman Mill claims he was married to when he married her. So he might possibly have had 3 wives at the same time. My husband has upwards of 10 half-siblings from his dad. I found out that my dad is not my biological father. Turns out the family friend I grew up calling grandpa is. Oh yay, and he was also my mom's bariatric surgeon. I have an uncle that was put up for adoption. He contacted my grandma and she thought he was going to extort her. They're well off. Turns out he's a multi-millionaire on his own. They still have limited contact, though my dad has reached out and formed a relationship. Apparently they look exactly alike and have the same personality, which sounds kind of stupid now that I'm writing it out, but they're only half siblings. My wife is adopted, but found her bio mom, and did one of the genetic tests. Someone matched with her and asked if she knew such and such a name. She found out her bio mom's husband wasn't the bio dad, it was the bio mom's boss. Oops. I was adopted and always knew I was adopted. My parents told me that I came from a family that had already had all of their kids. They live several towns over. I was a surprise. 3 years ago my wife decided to take some DNA tests. I figured, what the heck? Maybe I'm part Zulu warrior. That'd be cool. When the tests came back, I found out I had a first cousin. They had listed a public email. I emailed them, started comparing notes, and wham. I was in for quite a surprise. First, I was not born into a traditional family. Instead, my bio mom was single. Second, I was not a late addition. I had 4 sisters and 1 brother. I was a baby, but only by a couple of years. Third, most all of them lived nearby. Finally, nobody knew I was alive. My biological mom had passed. She had kept the pregnancy secret from everybody else. Before she died, she had confided in one of my bio sisters that she had a baby a long time ago, and she had put the baby up for adoption. She told nobody else. When my sister told the rest of the family, they didn't believe her. So when I finally looked them up, she was like, see? All those years. I told you so. We have a baby brother. It was an amazing experience. I had no idea what I was getting into when I sent that DNA test off. So I'm in a similar boat. I was given up for adoption by my bio mom and none of her family knew about me. However, I was not her first or last child. I was her second of 4 kids. My older half brother, we all have different dads. I don't know who mine is and I don't think bio mom does either, was adopted by my bio mom's parents. Her whole family found out about me when I found her when I was 19 and went to visit. It was pretty weird. I feel like the lucky one who got out. I don't talk to my bio mom. She is not a good parent to my 2 younger brothers and I hate that she pretends to know me or be my parent. Not my story, but someone very close to me discovered that none of the ethnic background that they were expecting was present in the results. This person, whose father was deceased at the time, questioned their mother. The mother admitted that the person's father was not biological as they believed their entire life. They were older than 40. The mother gave the name of the biological father. My friend then found the biological father, contacted him, and then discovered that they had several 1/2 siblings. The biological father was unaware he had another child and accepted my friend into his family as did the siblings. A woman over in Chicago decided to find out who her real parents were. She was getting close to 60 and realized that there may not be much time left to find her father. So through the magic of ancestry she was matched to my grandfather. She reached out to him and told him who her mother was. He didn't recognize the name but dug up his little black book and lo and behold, there she was. So now I've got a new aunt. I am the family secret. Family discovered their brother cousin son and his wife had 3 children and gave them all up for adoption after matching with me through a DNA test. They were shocked to say the least, but we're all pretty close now. Edit, since everyone is asking. So in 1994, my birth parents, unmarried, had my oldest brother. They were in communication with the adoption agency, Catholic Charities, throughout the entire pregnancy and selected my parents to adopt him via paper files. It was a closed adoption. 3 years later, 1997, I was born and my birth mother signed a temporary custody agreement with Catholic Charities and ran off to the UK for 3 months, before coming back and signing the rest of the paperwork. She asked for me to live with the same family who adopted my older brother. Also closed adoption. In 1999, my parents received a call from Catholic Charities saying that my birth father had passed away about a year before, and my birth mother had another kid with their best friend who was there to console her after his death. My younger brother was adopted to a different family. My birth mother ran off and never came back to sign the paperwork, so it took about a year for him to get adopted. Fast forward to a few years ago, took a DNA test, found out my birth parents are married and live on the West Coast. Birth mother made up the whole story with my younger brother being a half sibling so my birth father wouldn't find out. Didn't want Catholic Charities contacting him. Father didn't know there was a third kid until I connected via DNA with extended family. Mom was a larger lady who traveled a lot for work, baller job. Father also had a great job and frequently traveled for work. They were married in 1995. My male cousin did one and found a female cousin we did not know about. He reached out to her and apparently our deceased uncle was good friends with her mother. Mom wanted a baby so uncle got her pregnant simply as a sperm donor. Female cousin lived a few blocks away from my grandmother. She had met her a few times going around selling Girl Scout cookies or something. My grandmother had no idea that she was buying cookies from her granddaughter. That's crazy. I can't believe days can go by and you wouldn't even know about your own granddaughter. Was it a coincidence they live so near? I imagine since they live so close they have gotten closer because of this as well. My grandmother never knew. She was very old-fashioned and would not have been pleased with the thought of her son having a child with someone he wasn't married to. We didn't know the cousin existed until after my grandmother passed. On the flip side, my dad used to say my mom slept around and none of the 3 of us were his kids. Welp, thanks to the test, we know all 3 of us are. I found a half-sister that none of my siblings or mother knew about. My dad had an affair 50 years ago. He's dead now. For us it wasn't really a surprise. We already have a half-sister from another affair, but for the newly discovered one it answered a lot of questions and gave her some needed closure. We all met a few times. It was pleasant. Not me, but a friend never knew who his father was. Mom had a weekend fling in college and never contacted the guy after, and his wife helped him use ancestry.com to try and track him down. My friend reached out and the guy was obviously surprised, but flew across the country to meet him. They have a great relationship now. The dad attended his wedding, and they try to get their families together a couple times a year or so. A full 100% older brother. My mother got pregnant by my father before they were married. Scandalous in 1960. So, with my father's knowledge of the situation, Mom left town and lived with my aunt until the birth. Mom gave the baby up for adoption and then returned home. A couple years later, she married my dad and had 3 more children together, including me. 55 years later, after both my parents had died, my aunt let it slip that me and my siblings that were not the only children of our parents. To paraphrase from Star Wars, there is another. My sister took a DNA test, and a couple of years later she got a hit. Soon thereafter, We met our new big brother and his family, wife, kids, and have become quite close. So, I did the health DNA one 18 months ago because I wanted to see if I had the breast cancer gene, as there is several incidences on both sides of my family. Got my results and became very confused. It claimed I had no Italian despite my father's grandma literally coming over from Sicily in 1920. It took me a few minutes to realize what that actually meant. My parents have been together since my mother was 14. I was born when she was 17, and my father joined the military and married my mother. Called my mom and she literally said that's interesting. Then she asked me not to talk to my father and she would explain everything the next time I visited. She did not, and just refused I talk about it. Honestly, I was just shook. I did not see it coming and it was never even presented to be a possibility to me. My sister ended up doing a DNA test and it showed that we were half siblings. I went no contact with my mother 4 months ago, due to this incident and several others. I haven't told my dad but I realize at some point the truth is going to come out. My sister matched with some of my father's relatives while I did not, so if anyone checks that shit, they are gonna be asking questions. Not me, my wife. A few years ago my wife and I both took the 23andMe test. One of her matches came back with 23%, which is high for someone non-family. She messaged him and they started talking. He was about 10 years older, said he was adopted and the only thing he knew was some basic biological info. From his age that would have put her mom at 14, but her mom never said anything about it. So the two options were her mom got knocked up young or grandma had a secret love child. So she asked her youngest uncle, who said when he was a kid he remembered his sister going away for a few months because she was sick and the family just pretended it never happened. He also said that before his mom, my wife's grandmother, passed she told him all about it. So my wife now has a brother, a sister-in-law and nieces and nephews. Edit. Typos. Edit 2. Several people have asked. My mother-in-law is still around, but my wife does not have the best relationship with her. So my wife wanted to make sure she had all the information before she even approached her mother about this. Because in my wife's words her mom's a few crayons short of a full pack. But yes, they talk about it, and after trying to change the subject several times her mom finally told her what we already figured out. Found out that my brother is only my half-brother. Our parents, well, who we thought were both our parents, were never married. But my mom has insisted my whole life that my dad is my brother's dad. He never acknowledged my brother, he did me, claiming that the man my mom was living with at the time was probably his father. My mom has always said the other fellow was simply her roommate. Given that my dad was an alcoholic and chronic liar and our mom has never been someone to lie to make herself look better, and that my brother looked pretty much exactly like my dad in an old army photo, we believed our mom. So my brother gets an ancestry DNA test done and he's got no German ancestry at all, even though our dad's side of the family is super German. But, things happen. DNA comes out weird. Then I got a test done. And he showed up as a close match, but with 99% certainty a half-sibling. So we dig into this a little more. And my half-sister from my dad's side's son shows up on mine but not his. She's there too now, only on mine. All the cousins on my dad's side showed up on mine but not his. The relatives we have in common are our mom's family. So we're left with the certainty that our mom has been wrong all these years. Again, I swear to you that this woman does not lie to make herself look better. It just doesn't occur to her. I mean, I was in elementary school when she told me I was the result of a drunken attempt to get her ex-boyfriend to leave his wife for her. This woman is really a lot more honest than she should be, by all rights. So we've actually decided not to raise the issue with her. Either she's gone 50 years not knowing the actual father of her oldest child, or there's enough trauma there to make an unusually honest woman lie. This is just one more small bit of weirdness in our family anyway. My brother's legally my uncle. TLDR. I found a first cousin and helped her meet her father, my uncle. I found a first cousin that no one was aware of. It wasn't clear who her father was, but from the work she had done on her family tree, I could narrow it down to 3 of my uncles, father's brothers. Actually, I think the level of consanguinity could have supported other theories, like she could have been the daughter of an unknown half-sister or something like that. It turned out she is older than me, though, which I didn't know at first. I reached out to her via the family tree app, and we started emailing one another. After she trusted me enough, she revealed that my Uncle Jay was her father. He had no idea, or rather, as a very young man there had been a pregnancy scare during a short-term relationship, and at the time, like 60 years ago, he had become convinced that it was impossible for him to be the father, and that was that. Since nothing came of it, he had let it go entirely. In reality, my unknown cousin's bio mom put her up for adoption upon birth. The adopting mother read the attorney's documents upside down across the desk as she signed the papers and memorized the bio mom's name. Decades later she told my cousin her real mother's name, and my cousin developed a relationship with her bio mom as an adult. As my cousin neared retirement age, her adoptive parents and bio mom had passed away. Her father, my uncle, was, and is, still alive. She wanted to meet him but had never quite got the nerve to show up and say, "Hey, I'm your daughter you don't know anything about." She also has 3 half-siblings, my other cousins from Uncle Jay. One time she got all the way to his door and knocked on it, but he wasn't home. So, to make my long story a little longer, I conspired with my new cousin to introduce her to her father. I drove a few hundred miles to visit Uncle Jay and tell him what was going on. He immediately realized the story must be true, especially as I was able to supply the bio mom's name. We all met at a diner in the morning. The resemblance was striking right away. We all love my new cousin, and she has been an important part of Uncle Jay's life ever since. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.